The next interpellator is Congressman Asidre.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po. Kanina po nasa opisina ko po ako nung naririnig ko po yung testimonya. Nakikinig po ako sa testimony ni Usec Gloria Mercado. Narinig ko po na sinabi niya na nakatanggap siya ng sobrang may laman na pera regularly. At I'm actually disturbed kasi kung sinabi ni Usec Mercado na meron pang isa na nakatanggap at malamang meron pang ibang nakatanggap, I can just imagine if this was done on regular intervals, say monthly, I can just imagine the total amount needed to sustain it over a year. And, you know, at 50,000 each, sabihin na lang natin may 20, may 50, tapos merong 12 months, may Christmas pa daw, di ba? Mr. Chair, I can just imagine, and it's quite disturbing, no? For this particular practice, even to use the language, I think even a small whim of this happening in one of the departments that we hold in high regard, the Department of Education, it's really quite disturbing. But just to give a better picture of how things are at the Deped, Usec, you were Usec for HR, right, Mr. Chair?
Usec Mercado.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Usec, can you walk us through the process that Deped followed in the selection of Usecs and Asecs? Kasi I remember at that time there was a heightened attention at hiring at the best and the brightest for Deped. Would you share with us if there was an emphasis on appointing the most qualified and capable individuals, Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, that's why we all started out inspired, and for once we said that meritocracy is alive in the bureaucracy, because we went through a process of applications, being vetted, being in fact background check, and then the final search was a committee that asks specific questions. So if you're applying for a certain position, they will ask you questions around that. So it was, I think there were almost 1,000 or hundreds, I'm not sure, but we were informed that there were so many applicants. It was CES board that made the application, the search, the announcement, and it says if your career and you're smartest and the brightest, you can apply. So we did apply online, and then we received notice for interview, and then after a while we got a notice that you are hired as Undersecretary for Bureau of Human Resource and Organizational Development. So that's how the process went.
Mr. Chair, is this same process for the other portfolios?
Yes, yes.
Given your experience in government, Mr. Chair, would you say this was something unusual for a government agency to go through this process compared to the other agencies that you worked before?
Yes, that's why I said we were inspired when we started out. In fact, I recall I even posted in my day saying that meritocracy is alive when we were chosen.
So when this string of resignations happened, Mr. Chair, as HR, have you ever, tried to understand why these resignations were happening? Were these resignations ever addressed or seen as a cause for concern within the department?
It was beyond us, I have to admit, as the HROD and the parang nananayan of the Execom, every time someone is sent out, part of me dies off kasi they're also very close to me and they're young. These people are young. I know it will affect their careers. So even if this group tried to band together, they've been inviting me to join them. I could not because I wasn't able to do anything for them as the HROD.
Mr. Chair, would it be fair to say that even if you're using the word resignations, these resignations were in fact de facto dismissals?
Yeah. Because
And-
they didn't want to, but they have to because pride na rin siguro that they...
And Mr. Chair, the decision to dismiss them was entirely the Vice President's decision as Secretary of Education.
It was, well, the three, it was Usec Sulaika of OBP, then one was si Usec Powa, yung inutusan, and then yung isa si Usec Shine.
So you mentioned Usec Sulaika Lopez, the Chief of Staff of the Vice President. And at the time when she talked to this outgoing, dismissed undersecretaries and assistant secretaries, she was not part of the Department of Education, correct?
No.
So her role was really as Chief of Staff to the Vice President.
Yes.
Was this something usual for officials of the Office of the Vice President to intervene or to meddle in affairs of the Department of Education when she was Secretary of Education, Mr. Chair?
I guess that's the difficult part of the situation kasi you're OBP and at the same time you're Secretary of Education. But it was unusual on my part to hear after they came back from the OBP that they were asked to resign. In fact, the first one, yung sila Usec Chris, we were doing a national screening committee.
Ma'am, Usec, pakilakas po. Medyo hindi
We
ko
were in
narinig.
the screening committee and we had to stop because it's like all of us cried, and fortunately there was one of the members of the screening committee was from CES board, and she advised us that Chris should not be resigned because she's CESO 1. So kung pwede siyang pumunta na lang sa pool. So that's why we advised Chris to get the resignation and instead request for the pool.
Mr. Chair, Usec, kanina you mentioned a narrative na some officials were being called at a certain hour and were told that they were being asked to resign or dismissed with the same day, I
Yes.
believe. So, paano yun? May dala na silang resignation nung pinatawag sila? Or how was the process done?
I guess they were asked to submit right there and then.
Right there in front of Usec Sulaika.
I'm not sure if kay Sulaika or sa amin sa Deped.
But definitely wala silang dalang resignation letter when they were
wala,
called.
because we didn't know that they will have to go.
That they will have to be resigned. So wala ding opportunity, Mr. Chair, Usec, that exit calls were done for transparency and accountability? Was there even a chance that the former Deputy Secretary, the Vice President, would meet with these officials para pa-thank you lang naman for the services rendered?
No exit calls.
No explanation on the part of the Vice President?
Well, it was not explained to the Execom. So that was a very unhealthy precedent kasi parang after that we all ran scared that we might be the next one.
Paano kung CESO, Usec, Mr. Chair? Kasi syempre, we have certain rules to follow when it comes to career executive service officers. Was there another process? Was there a due
That's
process?
why they have to resign because their career.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair. Kasi ako, right there and then, they will lose their income, their staff will lose all their benefits and salaries, and they were all left in the cold, left in the dark about the circumstances of their termination. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Would you agree, Mr. Chair, Usec, that these decisions appeared to be arbitrary or whimsical or even capricious to say?
I'll choose arbitrary.
Would you, you've been, I believe you've been a human resource practitioner for the longest time. Would you believe that this somehow measures up to an abuse of authority or a lack of respect for government officials, especially those in the career service and for established processes in government service?
Maybe it's probably for her, it's a decision she has to make, and as to what are the reasons, it's hard to speculate. But it's very inhuman for
I will supply the word, Mr. Chair. It's quite unprofessional. You
Yes.
agree?
Or
Now,
I'd rather use the word
Unprofessional.
inhuman.
Inhuman.
Because you lost your income, di ba? Yung may pamilya ka
Hindi
eh.
lang naman inisip kung may sasaing
Oo.
mamayang gabi, no? Pagka-uwi. Mr. Chair, would you know, Usec Mercado, who replaced the outgoing officials?
For the two in administrative services, it was General Mentin and General Baluyan.
So that confirms the two generals on the invitation list serving as Usec and Usec, correct? What specific designations they had again?
They
Madam
were
Chair,
Usec
Mr.
for
Chair.
administrative services and Usec for administrative services.
You know, we have so much respect for our men in uniform, Mr. Chair, Usec Mercado, but you think having a general in the Department of Education would be something congruent with the mandate of the agency?
Well, it's a decision that the leadership has opted to take, so we cannot question it.
Now, considering this resignations, replacement of officials, and this, as we say, arbitrary style of dealing with human resource at the Department of Education, how would you characterize the management style of the Vice President when she served as head of your agency?
She has her targets, and I think that's where the disconnect is, because my sense, she has her targets, but she's in a different platform because ang orientation niya is local government, while as like policy process takes a longer one, she has to do it fast. I think she's been going down in the field, so mas nakikita niya yung problema. So she wanted things to go very fast. But the policy process can take a little while, and since these are also human that you have to consider, so you have to explain to her that that's how things work in the policy loop.
Would it be fair to say that she could have been more humane in her dealings with the officials and employees of Deped?
I think humane is, but probably it's a context of she thinks that since we're the executive committee,